Harry Kane leaving Spurs is the quintessential definition of the modern greedy footballer. Harry Kane isn't greedy. Harry Kane is looking at his career and saying, I only have a few years. Hello everybody, Mark Goldbridge reacts to the worst football takes of all time. Well, not quite the old time, but this is a labour of love for me. I put a tweet out yesterday saying that controversial, notice controversial, I'd rather take Son than Kane at Manchester United. I got a load of shit for it, and it really made me think. The opinion police is out in force, isn't it? I have an opinion, I stand by that opinion. Two, I see these little clips all the time on TikTok and this and other areas about people looking down the camera and telling you their opinion. And then it gets loads of retweets like there's some sort of football genius. So what we're going to do today is a little bit of an experiment. We're going to go through some of the biggest opinion points in football at the moment. And we're going to look at both sides of the argument. And you're going to decide which side you believe. Or do you start on one side and get intrigued by the other side? Because that's what opinion is. You take an opinion, but you don't enforce it onto other people. Some people will agree with one, some people will agree with another. So watch it back, see what you think. Make sure you smash a like on the video because it's been a labour of love for me. A bit of an experiment, but also around the thing I love, football. But a real lesson, I think, which we'll talk about at the end. Right, hit it, go. Harry Maguire is an £80 million centre-back. Fact. That is the price associated with him. He's nowhere near the quality of a Ruben Diaz or a Virgil van Dijk. Harry Maguire belongs in the conversation with £40 to £50 million centre-backs. He is therefore overpriced, overhyped and not worth the money Manchester United paid for him. And United fans can dress it up however they like, but you spent £80 million on a centre-back that any decent club would not have spent on him. He is not that level of a centre-back, but United want to try and portray him as that. He's not a world-class centre-back. Harry Maguire, if he was free or still at Leicester, on current form would be considered one of the best centre-backs in Europe and therefore one of the best in the world. £80 million for Harry Maguire is an unfair association. £80 million for Harry Maguire is because of the incompetence of Manchester United's board to get bent over by Leicester and overpay for a player. Judging him on his talent is the fairer way, and this £80 million thing is ridiculous and should not be the reason why Harry Maguire is a bad player when he's a very good player. Arsenal are done. They're not a big club anymore, and how are they going to come back? 8th last year? Oh, you won an FA Cup. So did Wigan, and they got relegated. They're going to be 8th at best this season. Maybe they'll fluke a 7th or God knows what. They are a mid-table club. They are a former big club. They are a badly run club. Even AFTV ain't funny anymore because the novelty of Arsenal losing is not a novelty, it's a consistency. They now just look like idiots because they're not actually moaning for a good reason. They're moaning about reality. Arsenal are done. They're not coming back. They're not going to be the next Liverpool. They're nowhere near coming back. And they're going to be consistently outside of the top 6 for many, many years to come. Of course, Arsenal are still one of the biggest clubs in England. Look at the size of the club. Look at the draw of the club. If you speak to anybody in Europe or in the world, they know who Arsenal are. They're a massive club. And look at Liverpool. Didn't win a Premier League title for 30 years. Of course, Arsenal could win a title in the next 10 years. They're a good owner, a good manager, and 3 or 4 players away from getting back amongst that race. And things can change very, very quickly. So to say Arsenal are no longer a big club and are now not a traditional top 6 club and should be removed from that conversation is nothing short of ridiculous. Why shouldn't Neymar stay at PSG? He's still one of the best players in the world. In fact, is he not the best player in the world? Champions League finalist last year, semi-finalist this year, universally well known as one of the best players in the world. What damage does it do for Neymar to stay at PSG? If he wants to stay at PSG and he's happy in Paris, why shouldn't he do that? Why is he wasting the talent? He's, as I said, established as one of the best players in the world, happy in Paris. They probably will win a Champions League at some point. He isn't hiding in Paris. He's happy in Paris. Let him crack on being one of the best players in the world. Neymar's wasted his talents. He's wasted his talent. He left Barcelona in his mid-20s. He's going to basically he's staying at PSG till his early 30s. That's prime years of Neymar hiding in a French league. And people will say, well, he can do what he wants. Well, I can say, and many other fans can say, he is good enough to be playing in the Premier League. He's good enough to be playing in La Liga. He's good enough to be playing in a better league than the French league. And ultimately, I think that he has wasted his talent being in the French league. Or a few cameos in the Champions League. It's not enough for a talent of that player. Yes, he's one of the best players in the world, but he's not focusing and showcasing that talent. He's wasting it in the French league. Manchester City are a great side. How can you say, well, they're not a great side because they bought it? Manchester United buy players. Arsenal have bought players. Liverpool have bought players. If you don't buy players in the modern game, you don't succeed. You are never going to get a team that's homegrown come through and win the Premier League or the Champions League. Manchester City deserve their success. They've built the structure over the last 12 years. They've been through a few managers. They've gone through a few players. They have the background. They have the structure within that club in relation to recruitment, youth setup, stadia, the lot. This is the definition of a great run club, and therefore they are a great club with a great manager, a great style of football, and they're not going anywhere either. This is not a Blackburn where they're going to be popular for a little bit of time because they spend a bit of money. Man City are here to stay, and they are a great side that will be here to stay. And I tell you what, it's going to take a lot to knock them off. And I'll say this, I don't think if Newcastle get a billionaire owner or anybody else, they'll knock Man City off, because it's not just the money at Man City, it's the way they use that money. They are a great run club, and they will be a great run club for many years to come. Manchester City aren't a great side, they're a successful side, but it's focused totally on massive amounts of money. You give that money that Man City's got over the last 12 years to Newcastle, Aston Villa, Everton, you would be in Southampton, exactly the same conversation would be being had. Is this a great Man City side? Well, it's a very good side, but it's not a reflection of a great side. It's basically an example of what happens as an experiment when you chuck a load of money. Let's not forget, Man City were bought because they had the Commonwealth Stadium. If they didn't have that, it could be Scousers, Everton fans, it could be Birmingham fans, Aston Villa. This is just simply about money with Manchester City. Well done to them. Of course, there's a bit of bitterness there, but it's about the money. It's not about a great football plan. It's about chucking a load of money at something and buying the best you can get, which is an example in itself of how you can be successful in football. You can buy your way. It's not a conversation. Messi is the best player in the world. The talent is above anybody else. He is the man who in his prime can pick the ball up and run past anybody from probably about 5 months old to 50. He'll still be able to do it. This is a talent. This is a pure talent. This is what we as a human race thrive on. The genius of football. The new Maradona. Absolute GOAT of the game. Nobody comes close. You cannot put somebody close to Messi because there's nobody who has the talent of Messi. He is the greatest of our generation. He is the greatest footballer, and we should enjoy it while we've still got it. Ronaldo's the better player. Ronaldo is the better player. This is an example of having a silver spoon in your mouth. If you are born into a poor background, poverty, and you rise your way up to the top to compete with those who've had a silver spoon in their mouth and come from rich backgrounds, what is the more deserving journey? It's the person who's come from nothing to compete with those who've had it on a plate. Messi is a God-given talent. Ronaldo is an example of God-given hard work. To get and even be in the same conversation as Messi shows that Ronaldo is clear, because he shouldn't be anywhere near the same conversation, because Messi is a God-given talent and Ronaldo has worked ridiculously hard over 20 years to be in the same conversation. So for me, Ronaldo is the GOAT. Harry Kane isn't greedy. Harry Kane is looking at his career and saying, I only have a few years. I have to leave. I want to win at Spurs. There's nothing that would please Harry Kane more than to have lifted that Champions League with Spurs a couple of years ago and to be in Premier League title races, or even just being in the Champions League. Because let's not forget, Spurs aren't in the Champions League again next year. So Harry Kane leaving Spurs is because he's too big for that pond. He doesn't want to leave those little ducks behind, but he's a big duck jumping into the sea, and that's where he wants to swim. And Harry Kane's got every right to do that. It's not about money. It is about trophies, but it's also about, I've got one career. I want to succeed and test myself at the highest level because I believe I am one of the best players in the world. That is what Harry Kane is doing, and nobody can begrudge him that. Harry Kane leaving Spurs is the quintessential definition of the modern greedy footballer. Now, it's not about the money because he can earn good money at Spurs, but let's be honest about this. He's going to earn it's not just about the trophies, he's going to earn a lot more money at Man City. He's going to double his money. So for every conversation about I'm loyal to Spurs but I want to win trophies, well, I'm sorry mate, you also want to double your money as well. It's about winning trophies, but winning trophies at City, woohoo! Who really gives a shit about that? You sit there when you've retired with your titles for City. It's your Spurs career that will matter more because actually you're more ingrained in what Spurs is all about. You've come through at Spurs. This is about greed. It's about winning trophies. It's about more money. This is not about Harry Kane. Oh, I've got to better myself as a footballer. Realistically, you'd better yourself as a footballer by focusing on the place that you're at and having some loyalty, which I'm sorry is a sad, neglected thing in the modern game. Fans don't mean anything to footballers. It's all about the greed. It was very clear before Manchester United signed Bruno Fernandes that he was a player who could score goals and get assists no matter what the surroundings. He's proven that at Manchester United. To call him Fernandes or somebody who just, nicks goals here and there, totally misunderstands what he's done at United in a short period of time. From January of last year to now, Manchester United's points accumulation with Bruno Fernandes is nothing short of stunning. To liken him to the impact that Cantona had on that United side back in the early 90s is a ridiculous but actually accurate praise for Bruno Fernandes. He is the focal point of that team. He would be the focal point at Liverpool, at Manchester City, Juventus, Bayern Munich. He is that good. He is quite simply one of the best attacking players in the world at this moment in time, and that is reflected by the sheer volume of goals, assists and chances created by what is an absolutely fantastic player who deserves a lot more praise than he gets. He is, without doubt, one of the best players in the world at this moment in time. 18 goals and 11 assists in a Premier League season for Bruno Fernandes. Well, let's take 9 off straight away because they were penalties. Fernandes down to 9. 9 goals and however many assists. The reality is, Bruno Fernandes has been very fortunate this season that he's been able to position himself in areas to score goals, win penalties and take penalties. And I tell you what, if he couldn't take a penalty, he'd only be in the conversation with a Mason Mount or a Jack Grealish, which is really good. But that's the level of Bruno Fernandes. He isn't one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. He's a very good attacking midfielder, but penalties are the reason that he's been able to go beyond and get into the conversation with De Bruyne. Really, he's a good player, but he's only as good as a Mount or a Grealish. He is not up there with De Bruyne. There you have it then. I hope you really enjoyed it. As I said, the opinion police won't like this because they want to ridicule people. Look at this rubbish take on a football opinion. Look at this. In a sense, it's the opinion police trying to suppress opinion. One person's bad opinion is another person's hot take. And that's the way it should be, especially in football. People can be really convincing and really arsey and look at you in the camera and go, oh, people are saying this about Neymar. What are you talking about? He can do whatever he wants. I'm talking about a fucking opinion, mate. That's what we're talking about. So these opinion police people out there trying to ridicule people, look how easy it is to have one opinion and then another opinion and go, ooh, there's 2 sides to a story. Welcome to the world. There's more than 2 sides to a story. There's many sides to a story. But there's your side to the story. And that's what it's about. You have an opinion, but it doesn't mean it's a bad one just because other people don't agree with it. Anyway, on a lighter note, I actually enjoyed the video. I hope you did. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and get in the comments below. Which opinions did you start off agreeing with and then went with the other side? And what opinions do you have amongst all those opinions? Because there's going to be a lot of comments and I'm going to look to reading them. In fact, look forward to reading them. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like. It's took a bit to do this, but I wanted to do it. I'll speak to you in a bit.